What's up, you guys? It's Agile here, and today we are back at Enshrouded, and many of you have been asking for a little bit of some gardening tips and tricks here. I'm going to do a little how-to build video here on building just a simple little garden that looks just like this one here. And it's going to look a little different probably because we're going to build it right over here in front of our fisherman's inn here. This is just for lighting here when I was building in the dark, so don't worry about that. But yeah, obviously our shore dimensions are going to be a little different here, so bear with me as we try to struggle through some of that. But stuff you're going to need here for this, the essentials, you'll need your simple coffins here. So we'll go ahead and move some of those into our inventory here. You'll need the graveyard fence poles here, so we'll move those in as well. There, and if you want to cap off your bottom layer, you'll need simple coffin lids, which for this video we're not going to be capping them off here, but I'll show you how to do that. Then you'll also need some iron fence gates here. So, and then as far as soil goes here, you have three choices. If you want to plant your own herbs or flowers, fertilize farm soil. If you want just plain grassy moss looking there, or if you want to round your edges off with moss, use that. Or flower soil that we're probably going to end up using here today. And then I do have some gnomes in here too that we might end up using as well. And then this stuff over here is just blocks that you could potentially use here. So you can ignore these blocks here. We're just going to be building our kind of base foundation out of this stuff here. You can use whatever block you want though, because it'll be covered by dirt and coffins. And then some different options that I thought I'd included here for you. We have the harrow here for farming, you know, kind of a garden, a notice board here. And then we have our wagon, big wagon, wheelbarrow, and plow here. So, and then if you want any kind of extra items here, like placeables, we have the honey beehive, which I have in the other garden there that I just showed you. Also the one in the thumbnail, more than likely the one in the thumbnail. I think I'm going to use that one. And then the seed bed here and the improved water well. So it just depends on how big you want to make your garden and what you all want included in it here as well. So we have kind of a overcast kind of day here, because if we come up here and look, it's actually not nighttime. It's actually daytime. It's just a little darker for some reason today here, so a little overcast like, but that's all right. We're gonna set the mood, right? Set the mood. So to kick things off here, I don't want to make this video too long, but basically we'll come in here, we'll grab out our actually I think we're gonna go a little bit smaller this time. We'll grab out, now let's go 4 meter. I changed my mind again. We'll go 4 meter foundation here. Again, use whatever block you want for this. All I'm really doing here, if you're building in the same spot as me, I'm just going to be clearing out some of this debris here, this rubble. Like that, and then we're going to remove this here. Just kind of clear some of this out here so that we can have a little bit more of a clear building space. And I would eventually like to take that out as well there, but we don't want the water to come flowing in here yet. Obviously, it's being held back by these rocks here. So we might have to do a little finessing there with that. But basically, then the next step you're going to want to do is just make sure you have a good foundation down. So I'm going to go ahead and use probably the 2 meter ceiling block here. And I'm just going to use rough flintstone. I'll turn my snapping back on here. And then we want to make sure that our height is going to end up being right here. I want to double check that. So the way we can do that is just come over to our soil here. And let's see here. Oops, sorry, I need the hammer out. And then go to our soil. 1 block soil here. Right there. Scroll down to our flower soil. And this is kind of how you can test it a little bit here. So like if we put this down right now, you can see like it's too low, right? It's much too low. So we'll get rid of that again here, because then what we'll actually end up doing then is we're going to have to raise this platform up some. So see here if we can actually stack some of this here. What we could actually do too is switch to our 4 meter here once and see if that allows us to bring it up a little more here. We might have to do it manually because my snapping points are being a little odd here, which is a bit annoying, but that's all right. The other side we had 0 issue with, so let's turn off snapping here, and then we'll bring it down. And that's looking better right there. It all depends on where you want yours to be at. And then we'll test it with our soil here. So we can either have it up here like so, which looks like it's going to be pretty good right there. We can actually see what it looks like if we take it down one. Not much of a difference, but that's going to be about the right height for me. So I'm going to go ahead and, oops, I'm on land here. This should be the big block, right? Oh, okay, I got to go down here to terrain. There we go. I'm going to remove this again. Just all the way over there because I was just testing that there. All right, so yeah, so we will end up using the 4 meter here. And we'll just sink that down to match up with that one. We'll take that over to that wall, take it over here to this wall. And then we do want to square this corner off here. It's going to be a little jank though, isn't it? All right, we're going to have to do it manually here, which is fine. And we'll see how it ends up turning out with our actual, okay. And see, now we can see here that we actually have some weird water effects happening, which it should not be. Let's actually build a retaining wall here. There we go. That was the leak right there. So there you go. You see that we just put a little retaining wall in there and it cut that off. I actually should have pushed it out one more, but that's all right for right now. And what I'll actually do is just come in here back down to terrain. I'm gonna go up to 1 meter actually. And I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of this here. I see I cut out a chunk there. We wanted okay. I'm always like scrolling too many things. There's a lot of intricate scrolls, as you guys know. So I just want to make sure that's a little more even there. That's kind of got a weird rock thing going on there. Then I'll scroll back over to here, get our rough flintstone, and fill our holes back in here. Okay, now that we've got our foundation down, which took way longer for our side than what I did over here, but anyways, now we can actually start the building process here. So a couple different things to keep in mind when you're building with objects like this. You have a lot of flexibility, but also it can be very, very tedious. What we want to do here, if you place one down like this, it's going to end up looking like that, which is fine if you want to, you can actually put soil in there and use it as a planter itself, but we want to make it look like this. So in order to do that, we need to actually come back over here to this, and then we're going to go ahead and enable the fine-tune rotation, which on PC is R plus right click. And then we want to rotate it here. So you can rotate it either side to side or up and down. So I'm going to hold G, scroll with the middle mouse button, and we'll rotate this all the way around until we are flat. A good way to know it's flat is if you can see for the length of it, the blue through the foundation there. Of course, we do want this to be up higher. And snapping, again, this is where the tedious part comes in here. Snapping is going to work well in some cases and poor in other cases. So like we can see on this side here, we're a little lower here. Actually, I probably will fill that in too, so there's not a gap there underneath the bridge. But we're going to redo this whole walkway too eventually. But anyway, so we want it just a little lower here to look even. So let's check that once and see what that looks like. It's a little lower there. It's actually looking pretty darn close there. So if you want it at different heights, all you have to do then is just finesse it a little bit. Put down some walls or something next to it like this. So you can see here, you can make it even with the ground if you wanted to. Or if you want it in the ground and start from there, you can stack items as well. But we're going to go ahead and go with that. And then I do want to turn on the fine-tune position button, which is Q plus right click. And basically what that does then is allows us to move it up and down here like this. And we could actually get closer here so you could see. So up and down like that. And then we're just going to go ahead and place these in here. And we'll just bring it along like this. And one thing you should note too when you're fine-tuning like this is you can get the angles off so it goes a little crooked, which I don't like when that happens, but it is, just the nature of the beast. And of course, I do want to bring this one up just a tad here because I had a weird line in it. So once you have one line down here, then you can go ahead and either turn on your snapping so it's perfectly straight. And it looks like we are going to be pretty much even with this side over here. But I'll just go ahead and, so basically what you want to do then is turn off your fine-tune rotation, which is going to go like that. But then you can rotate it like this so it snaps to a 90-degree angle. Turn back on your fine-tune rotation, and then go ahead and flip her around like this again here. That's going to make it nice and straight for you. Still got some water doing some weird effects here. The water is jank sometimes. It's a very, very cool water system, but it's a little hard to understand too sometimes. So there is another trick you can do here too. So basically at this point, what you can do as a trick is go ahead and come in here, and we want this fine-tune off so it snaps into place right in the corner here. And then the trick is, if you're going to use fences, rotate them and then see where you have to place them to make them even. So what I mean by that is, like, bring this over here like this on the inside edge, and you see how like it overlaps a little bit there. How, okay, let me show you here. So you see how that would be a weird pattern. We'll pick this back up here. So what you want to do then is bring this over like this, and that's going to actually tell you how far over you need to go to make it look correct. So we actually need our coffin again here, and then we do need to flip this again here. So we'll flip this all the way. Whoa, sorry, my mouse has an auto scroll feature. Sometimes it goes wild. But what we want to maybe do then is we might have to go into first person here. Can I punch this in or over here? Okay, let's go like this once and see where that actually gets us there. And this wall is, of course, going to be in our way, as I thought it would be. So let's go ahead and go back down to walls here. We'll remove this wall. The water's going to maybe be jank, maybe not. It shouldn't, because it's not this high up, but okay. And then basically when we come back over to our coffins again here, we'll rotate this 90. Go back into okay, the water is being weird again, but maybe once we get, oh, my word. Maybe once we get this down, it won't. So pretty much we'll rotate this flat here, and then you see how it has to match up right there in the corner. So we might actually have to bring it right over here. Let's make sure it's lined up here. It might be off a little bit there. Let me see here. Under first person so I can see. We might actually have to fine-tune this position a little bit. Let's try that once here. There we go. Bring it over. Just like that is absolutely perfect. And then we can go back out of first person here because I know a lot of people don't like that. We still have water coming in, which is just odd. It's like it's kind of coming in, but kind of not. Oh, I know what's happening. I actually know what's happening right now. So you see right here how we have some holes. I do believe this is going to be our problem here. So what you can actually do here, this will be a free tip. And I'm going to use granite blocks for this here, I think. We'll come in here to our 2 meter, and we'll grab our walls. And what I'm going to do here is just build kind of a little retaining wall. And flip this around. All right. And then we want to make sure that it's even here, so we need to make sure that goes down all the way. So if you are building this in the exact same spot as me, I would advise doing this here so you don't get water leakages. Leakages, is that a word? Alright, and then there you have a nice little retaining wall as well, which you can spruce up more if you'd like, and just stopped our water from coming in here. So we might have to get rid of some of this extra stuff here as well. Let's go ahead and flip this coffin around here. It may actually hide it as well here. Oop, I wanted that on. Unless I wanted this on. Okay, and then we want to go ahead and rotate this. And of course, it's going to start raining. I have the weather set to rare for weather patterns, and it still rains all the time. Really annoying. One of the reasons why I like building in the desert, actually. And you could actually Let's see here. Is this gonna look weird? We'll see how that actually looks. It might actually work into the build there. Okay, and then we're out of coffins there. So I'll grab another stack of coffins. And the amount of coffins you use can be adjusted too, just based on your size of your build. And then of course, how you place them, like how much they overlap and whatnot. Obviously we're overlapping quite a bit with this, so. All right, let's go ahead and flip this bad boy. All right, and then we just want to make sure this lines up good here, like this. Good. And you always want to double check your first one, because if your first one is off, the rest of it's going to be off, just like building in real life. Your corners are usually your most important features. And we have a little gap here. I'm just going to fill in right there. All right. Now, hopefully you've ended up in a nice square position, essentially. To place in these here on the corners. Ooh, right there. I was a little too close there. Grab out your... Ooh, we need one over here too. Grab out your corner posts there. And then go ahead and you can just use your regular snapping there if you're not building at a weird angle. And mine's going to have a little bit of a variety there. But we are covered up pretty good by the bushes there, so not a huge deal. And then this way should be good. It's really up to you how precise you want to get it. I mean, you can make it super duper accurate. That's not going to be right. Oh, I should also mention too. Here, let me show you. I just thought of it here as I did it over there. If you don't like that, you have a little trick that's a very small help here. So you saw how that overlaps a little bit there. You can actually sink that into the corner post a little bit and fix that weirdness right there. So you do have a little bit of leeway there with the corner post, which is nice. All right, let's continue building here. And again, with this one, see how the pattern would be off? Would be off a little bit there. We can go ahead and sink that in there. And it is not going to show through here. And yeah, you have a result just like this here. And then all we're going to simply do is just come in here with our hammer. We'll go down to terrain. And you can be as precise as you want in here now. If you want to go around and edge it with your moss, you could do that as well. So basically you could come around here with your moss block and you could fully edge it so that you don't get these flowers that overlap here. I actually like the flowers that overlap like that because it looks, you know, more natural to me. Like, you know, flowers don't just grow inside of fences here unless you prune them all the time. They kind of poke through and whatnot, and I like that. So I am going to go ahead and not do the moss, but if you want the edging to look nice, go ahead and do that. And we'll go to the flower soil here, and I'm going to go down to the cube 2x2 here. And then we're just going to go ahead and make this pretty much square with this here. Like that. And we're just going to go ahead and fill this in here. Try not to misclick a little bit there, because you can also leave a little gap here. It's really hard to see, but it will help so things don't overlap so much like that, like I do. But I like when they stick out like that, so it's a design choice, I guess. And what I mean by that is, like, you can place it just a half a block away and it won't stick out so much then, but it doesn't take a lot of flower soil either to do this, so oop, just jumping all over the place here. Just fill it in then. If you want a little pool in here, you could put a little pool in there as well. Not a big deal. But there you go. You have yourself a little flower bed here. And what I meant by caps now, I want to go into some options here. So for caps, what I meant by that is as you're building it here, or now if you wanted to, you could cap it like this. And you could place that cap on there. Or you could come back into your fine-tune rotation here. You could... Whoa, that's not what I wanted. I held down F, my bad. What are we doing here? Fine-tune rotation is what I wanted here. And then we can go ahead and rotate that all the way around again so that it's flat. And then you could go ahead and you could cap off these points as well here with the coffin block if you wanted to. Just go ahead and turn it or leave it straight, however you want it to be. And you could cap this off here if you wanted to do that as well. Just an extra little design touch there if you want a little more pattern than just the stone, but I happen to like the stone on this. Now, if you want to build it just like me, I just put a simple little beehive in here and a garden gnome. You have options, as we said. So let me go ahead and move this stuff out of my inventory here because we are done with this stuff. We have gnomes here. We have seed beds. We have water wells if you want to put a well in the middle of it. I think we might actually put a little plow in the front there, if it's not too big. And then I have some other plans for notice boards and stuff like that. So we already have a beehive on the other side. So let's see, how big is this plow? Pretty big, actually, very big. But it could actually look kind of nice. So if we just place it something like this. Actually, hold on. Let's see what is the harrow? How big is that? How big is our harrow? Yeah, but no one's really gonna know what a harrow is. This will give it a little more aesthetic here. And one thing too that helps with the kind of help things feel lived in your world is go ahead and turn back on your rotation here, and then just go ahead and rotate it a little bit and put things in at angles in your world. That's gonna help so that it doesn't look so 90 degrees so flat in your world as well. And I do want to know which one did we put over here. We put the lantern one over there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little gnome. Rotate him a little bit here. And you might have to adjust your soil a little bit to get him perfectly flat here. Actually, it'd be kind of fun to put him right here by his little plow. Let's move him a little bit. Right there is good. Okay, and then if you want another beehive in here, you can put a beehive in here. If you want a seed bed or the actual well, the well could go fine right in the middle of this right here, which wouldn't look too bad, but we're getting a little cluttered now. And then a seed bed as well here. You could put one of those in here, and you could definitely level off your terrain too with a rake or something like that if you want to do that. In fact, we might just place our little seed bed right there. And now you have a little seed bed that's functional. And as far as lighting goes, you have a lot of options. You could put torches on the outsides of these. You could put glowing blocks hidden underneath somewhere. Or you could even build a little, what do they call it, a pagoda over the top here. So you could go ahead and get rid of these corner blocks here. And then you could come in here with your actual hammer, use your actual block of your choice here, and you could build up a pillar, and then you could build whatever kind of roof you want there over the top, and you could put lighting over the top of your garden as well here. I like the open air garden. This is the fisherman's inn after all in my world. And then if you did want to add in some vines and stuff, feel free to do that as you please. But that is pretty much going to be our little garden here. Let me go see if it's dark enough to sleep so that we can kind of take a look at what we built here. It's not dark enough to sleep yet. Okay. But yeah, so very, very simple, very, very quick and easy. We're at 23 minutes here with all of my blabbing about different options and whatnot. If you do appreciate things like this, the how-tos, the little build videos, please do consider leaving me a like and subscribing to the channel. It helps me out a ton. It means a lot to me, actually. We're trying to grow this channel as fast as possible, you know. But then again, if you don't want to, you're just passing by. Hello, nice to see you. And yeah, thanks for stopping by. If you guys want to see other builds, other ideas, please let me know if you have any of those down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to build some of those for you and show you how I do it. These do take me a while to put together as well, so sorry for the slow timing. I do intend on releasing a how to build market square as well here coming up shortly. So you guys can expect that as well. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I don't want to drag this out any more than I have to. We'll catch you in the next video. Later.